I need to find one of those automatic levelers. You know those get what do they call them, gimbals that you put your device in and it automatically levels things out. 'Cause no matter how hard I try to flip that thing, we're always crooked. But cockeyed. Good morning, guys and gals, and welcome to the Monday, April 21st episode of Morning Coffee and Chat. I hope you guys all had an absolutely amazing bunny day. Uh, Wife and I were both off work. She made an absolutely amazing dinner for just the three of us. We thought that the kids were going to come over and bring the granddaughters over, but they had other plans. They knew things were tight with us. We couldn't really do anything. And we wound up cooking she made one of her absolutely amazing pork loins and made green bean casserole and sweet taters. Good morning, Tony. Oh my God, I hadn't heard. I had not heard that he passed from the press releases I've been hearing from the Vatican. He was still improving from when he was sick here, a month or so ago. I did not hear, and it's really funny too because I have been up literally, with the exception of going back to bed about 5:30 and getting back up at 10 after 7. I have literally been up since 10:40 last night. I laid down at 8 o'clock and woke back up. My hand was clenched from the old carpally tunnel, and I took my little, what I call my snack pack of painkillers and antidepressants, or not antidepressants, God blessed, anti-inflammatories, and then took icy hot and just rubbed it into the meat. And it took me about an hour, but I was finally able to move my hand again. I did not hear that he passed. My God. Good morning, Ben. Good to see you. David, hello, my friend. Happy post Easter to you. Okay, that's everybody that's in here so far, or at least everybody that's talking. But yeah, I did not hear he passed. And I was in here, like I said, I was in here from literally uh, not quite 11 o'clock last night until about 5 o'clock this morning when I laid down and got a couple hours. And it's really funny. 10 minutes after 7, I'm laying in bed and I'm dreaming that I missed the stream. It's funny as hell. I'm in my dream. I missed the stream. I was dreaming that I woke up, looked at my phone, and it said it was 6 minutes after 8. And I sat here and, oh my God, all the trouble I've been having with the platform, getting my streams to actually schedule properly. And I finally get one to work, and I sleep through the damn thing. And then I hit my phone again, and it had the same time on it that it had when I previously looked at it. And I'm like, wait a second. This is weird. What's going on? I don't understand. Why didn't the time on my phone change? And I looked at it again. It was the same time. And my body just automatically woke up. And I reached over and hit my phone, and it was still an hour basically till the stream. So it's amazing how dreams will throw in those little clues and hints to reality and stuff. Let me see here. to your eye, Drew. You look like a Viking that's gone through battle. Oh, you've not been in here in a little bit. Yeah, the cataracts have gotten so bad in this eye that it's gone. There's just no, there's not going to, even if I could afford to get the surgery, there's no saving it. The pupils already, they would have to do the pupil transplant thing because this pupil is already starting to silver over a little bit. Um, this one here is still, one day it's really bad, one day it's hardly bad at all. So because the counterbalance of knocking off my equilibrium from this eye being nothing but a fog and hazy, um, I was actually having trouble standing. I was getting so dizzy. I was getting nauseous. So I started wearing the eye patch, and I don't get dizzy or nauseous anymore. So, but it fits with the whole Viking persona thing for the Ren Fair here in just a few weeks. So I was actually going to just let my hair grow out and let my beard grow out and just kind of be the All Father walking around in my big black hat with my hood and my lance. And I decided, no, I want to do something a little meaner. So, yeah, race that bike on wet roads, you retard. I just heard that he passed when I woke up this morning around 7. Wow. I have no idea. Hope everything gets better. I do too. I do too, Ben. Like I said, I've kind of given up on this. The first time that the daughter, or I was in the kitchen, with him, and he, uh, he turned around and said something to me, turned back around. He's getting real close to my eye and everything, and then he yelled at his mom, and she came out and she's like, "Oh my God!" She goes, "It's already starting to get that reflective." So, best case scenario, I shave all the body hair, all the facial hair. I look like Vin Diesel um, from, you know, Pitch Black and stuff like that. Worst case scenario, I have to have a seeing eye pigeon or an iguana or a dog or something boring. I don't know. Something like that happened to me once. My alarm went off 3 times. Third time it went off is when I woke up. Had a big weekend with WrestleMania 2 day show. It was great. Cool. Cool. That's always fun. I don't. I can't say that I don't get into wrestling anymore. I don't know anybody that's wrestling anymore. The last time I watched wrestling was when Triple H was starting to retire. Ric Flair had already retired. Hogan was still popping into the ring once in a while. Um, I would say it's probably been, I'd say it's probably been 6 or 7 years. Um, well, we don't have cable anymore. We've got streaming services. So I don't get a chance to see any of the live wrestling shows anymore. We don't have any streaming services you got to pay for. We canceled everything. We canceled Netflix. We canceled Roku. We canceled Paramount. We canceled HBO. We canceled all of them, trying to save money and get our at least our nose above water. Um, Save the house and still be able to keep me going in here and with the events and stuff. Stone Cold appeared on day 2. Triple H got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Triple H was always my favorite. I know a lot of people didn't like him, but you know, I love the way he handled himself. He's a hell of a showman. We'll put it that way. I remember back in the day, um, back during the Stephanie McMahon marriage years, him and Stephanie were in the ring together, and she was trying to make a reference to his and she was getting all the laughs and stuff like that, and then he come back with a line about even a jetliner is small when it's flying through the Grand Canyon. And that was that was pre-Sledgehammer days and stuff like that, but it's little stuff like that, and he said it with a straight face. And it's like, dude, if I was trying to insult somebody and I said something like that, that would have been it. It would have been one huge sneer on my face when I said it. But no, not him. He did it with style. X-Pac. Yeah, used to love wrestling. Wrestling was one of those things that Dad and I both got into. We'd watch it together. Man. Well, let me see how many's in here. We got 7 in here right now. I don't think we have 7 chatting, but we have 7 in here. It looks like I'm going to make the leap tomorrow at 4 p.m. I am going. I'm going back to the bar. I'm still at the brewery. Actually tomorrow morning. I have to start training a guy who is going to be my fill-in for the days that I have to do like the Ren Fair or do Ghost-O-Rama, or anytime I'm sick and can't go in. But I got to train him all this week, and then tomorrow at 4 p.m. I report back up to the bar, which is now an Indian restaurant. They do serve American food, though. They still serve burgers and sandwiches and pizzas and salads. But they need a chef up there for the American food. So it's going to throw a little bit of hamper on my sleep schedule, but it's nothing that can't be adjusted. I barely sleep anyway. Usually go to bed at the same time every night. Just can't manage to get myself up at the same time. Sometimes I'm up at 11:30. Sometimes I'm up at 12:30. Sometimes I'm up at 2:30 to be in there to get the dough done and get out of there before anybody else shows up to start cooking, because it's such a small kitchen. So yeah, going in there at 4 o'clock and working till close 9 or 10. It's going to hamper my sleep schedule a little bit, but we'll see what happens. One of my friends got followed down a road by Hogan and Beefcake out riding their Harleys when Hogan lived in Stanford. Oh, cool. Good morning, Santee. Good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Well, all things considered. Good morning, Jay. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, right now I'm trying to. I've got a couple of small projects rolling right now um, for the Ren Fair. Since I wasn't able to build the Viking house um, due to not being able to find anybody with a trailer to transport it, um, I'm actually working on a custom box for all of my ironware, my cookware, my fireware and stuff like that, my grate and everything. Um, and I'm working on a Viking helm. Nothing with horns, mind you. I might put wings on it. I don't know, but I don't have a rivet gun. I don't have any rivets. Um, so I'm trying to toss things around in my head here, trying to figure out how I can do all this with the limited time I have. That is the 17th and 18th of this month, or of next month. So, I've got like a month to get this stuff done and things like that. So, yeah, had to stop up at the hardware store the other day and price that stuff. And yeah, being the only major business in town, it's not exactly what we would all consider affordable. So, any investigations in the future? You know, that's a good question, Santee. Good morning, Jan. Good to see you, sis. I don't even know how a snap rivet works, especially how I would do it on metal. Um, but what was I saying? I was saying something about something. Oh God, train of thought derails. 10,000 brain cells dead. Film at 11. Um, I've got the metal to cut the pieces out, to get the helmet done, get it done right. I've downloaded several photos of real helms to get an idea. Some of them had more of the pointed top, some of them had the rounded top. Basically, it's just four rounded triangles to form the shell, and then you've got the mask that comes down. Some of them had the ridge piece, some of them had side flaps, some of them had chainmail. So it's just a matter of finding the style. Um, Maybe only for leather, snaps together, and a hammer tap locks it. Yeah, see, I don't. I knew about snap rivets for leather, but I don't know if they make it for metal. But yeah, that was going to be my big announcement for the day. I'm going to um, I'm going to actually start a second job. I'm going back to the bar that I used to work at, which has been completely resurfaced into an Indian restaurant. I will be cooking all the American food, probably for their, probably to start off at least just for their dinner rushes. Um, who knows? I don't even know who they have cooking for lunch. So I might wind up having to go in at like 5 o'clock in the morning to the brewery, do all the dough, leave the brewery, and go straight to the restaurant and work until close. So I don't know. I got no clue. I was just really shocked that they called me and said, "Hey, would you like to come up here and be our cook in charge of all American food?" Uh, Hell yeah! So I know I know it's gonna affect me, um, because I'll be more than affect me. Let me rephrase it. More than affect me, I know it's going to affect the channel a little bit. Um, because I getting home so much later, getting in bed 2 or 3 hours later than normal. I'm not going to be getting up at 1, 2 anymore. I'll probably be crawling out of bed at 3 to drink my coffee and start hoofing it up to the brewery, and then just pretty much leave the brewery, go straight to the bar or straight to the restaurant, and work there until close. And God only knows what days. I'm sure we all have friends and or acquaintances that are Indian. We know how they work. I mean, look at the little guy I used to work with at the bar that came over here to start a new life. He was a journeyman electrician. He was a master electrician in India, but there are so many electricians, he couldn't find work. He was a newlywed. They wanted to start a family. So he leaves his wife behind and comes here I think he's supposed to be here for 2 years before he pays off his indentured servitude and can bring his wife over. And that little dude was literally showing, he was there 12 or 14 hours every day, 7 days a week, um, in the bar, in the kitchen, doing something. He was either doing maintenance, or he was doing cleaning, or he was cooking, or he was doing stock, or he was working outside, or he was doing something. That's the way they operate. That's the way they do things. The really sad thing is, when you're in that indentured servitude situation, how the people who brought you here are allowed to treat you. I remember, because of the time difference between here and India, we were real slow at lunch one time, and I told him, "Hey, why don't you sit down and call your wife before she goes to bed? It's almost bedtime. It's almost 11 o'clock in India." He's like, "Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. You're my friend. I really like, I like how you take me into consideration and take her into consideration." He's not on the phone with her for 10 minutes when the former owner walks in, starts screaming at him for not doing anything, even though he had already done everything, and grabbed his AirPods and threw them on the floor, and they exploded. 100 some odd dollar AirPods. And then he confiscated his phone, and took it and locked it in the office. And yeah, and I'm the one that told him to take a break because, you know, he was working 12 or 14 hours a day. Uh, oh, yeah, they see they're not American citizens. So I guess our laws don't apply because he told me stories of guys that were brought over here on those servitude things that were literally beaten by the guys who brought them here, and they couldn't turn into the cops because then they'd get sent back home, and the other guy would just, you know, bond out. And it's usually the big money families, the Patels and Singhs and stuff like that have buttloads and buttloads of money. Who, I mean, we're all used to the, you know, the way the court system works. You know, the more money you got, the less time you serve. Look at the president. Um, Maybe only for under new management. Yes, they are under new management. A guy that owns a local, well, he's not really local, he's 45 minutes away, but it's a restaurant called Indian Garden in Mishawaka, Indiana. He bought the place. So now it is the Taj Indian restaurant and bar. Went in there, sunk buttloads and buttloads of money in that place, completely remodeling it, upgrading everything. It don't even look like the same place. Good morning, Chris. Good to see you, bud. Hope you're doing good. Uh, but yeah, it's gonna be a little rough on me. It's gonna be really rough on the channel because I'll be sleeping. Since I'll be getting in bed so much later, I'll be sleeping to get prepared, rested up to start the day when I'm normally in here doing my videos. That's what I do in here, guys. When I get up at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, I come in here and I start working on videos. And I do that up until it's time to get dressed and head to work. So that's that's the present and foreseeable future. Yeah, well, laws don't apply if you ignore them. It's especially with things going on, um, like with the immigration thing now. You know, it really kind of um, makes me fear for a lot of these people that have come here. Some of them are actually born here. Their parents came here, you know, 20 years before they were born. And, you know, started a new life, became doctors, became attorneys, became whatever. And, you know, now they're talking about under this new immigration thing, they're talking about not only, you know, being able to send the parents back home, but any kids they had born here, send them back home too. So it's just, I mean, come on, if ICE is going to pull over Native Americans and put them into custody to ship them out of the country, they're willing to pull over anybody. Now they've made it possible to go into churches and synagogues and whatever and arrest people right there during church service. So I mean, I don't put I don't put anything past, uh-uh, just don't do it. Morning, Justin. Good to see you, bud. Yeah, and I agree with that, Chris. That's exactly how I felt about it. According to the U.S. Constitution, you were born here, you were born an American citizen. But uh, once again, there's a loophole there. It's kind of like serving a third term as president. They find a loophole, and just might as well light cigars with the U.S. Constitution, because they're gonna, which might be why he didn't put his hand on the Bible and swear to protect the Constitution, because he planned on restructuring it. Who knows? I don't claim to be able to read the feller's mind. It's scary times. There are too many countries sending criminals here as illegals. Yeah. Um, I need to find a new news source. I watch every news source, every news source, and I seen a video clip where it came straight out of his mouth that it didn't matter if they were born here or not. You know, they're going back to where their family came from. Illegals committing crimes is bad here in Ohio. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I know, it's absolutely terrible. And it's what's really sad is that is supposed to be, the whole premise of this immigration thing is sending criminals back out of the country. But, I have seen multiple sources that show people being arrested and detained that have got spot free, sparkly, shiny criminal records. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's interesting times. Definitely interesting times. Yeah, now see, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you on that, Tony. If they're here illegally, that is a crime. I don't know. I just don't. I don't understand how it all works. I don't understand the logic behind it. I just watched an interview the other day of a college student that was here on his, educational visa or whatever it's called, and they're wanting to revoke his visa and send him home. So, the question was laid out by the news reporters. How many other international college students in this country have been told the same thing. till they come forward and let people know. We got no way of knowing. So who knows? Who knows? No one raised a stink when Obama deported. True that. Chris Murphy is the senator of our state, Connecticut. So things are really, really bad here. Things are really bad everywhere. My wife went to my wife went to buy eggs to Collar yesterday. We wound up getting we found a dozen eggs for $6.99, and I was talking to mom and dad yesterday. Wishing them a happy Easter, checking up on them. Down in Tennessee, a dozen and a half eggs, um, 18 eggs, you're basically paying $1 per egg. They said where their eggs used to be at, or used to be $1.99 a dozen, they are charging $17 for a dozen and a half eggs. So, hope you're doing good this morning, me. Yeah, I would absolutely, I would love to raise chickens. Not like I have the time now, to give them the attention they deserve, and things like that. But still, it's I haven't checked the price of eggs in a while. Alexa said she paid. Um, I think she said it was five. Maybe it was $5.49 for a dozen eggs here in town, and it's going to get really bad because when our what we refer to them as Lakers, it's the people that have all the nice big houses out there around Camp Ritchie Folk and stuff like that. When they come in here the end of this month, um, all the stores here in town mark their prices up because these people that come in from Chicago and New York and every place else that have these seasonal homes out here, they can afford to pay the prices. They start pulling the the normal food out of spots and putting the more expensive food in. Everything else gets jacked up, 25%, because these people will pay it. So, yeah, like it's not already bad enough. My personal favorite is when they jack the prices up and then they put them on sale. So they give you a 25% increase, then take 10% off, and that's a sale. Something just don't seem right about that. Eggs are cheap again in Texas. Wow. Eggs were $5 a dozen last I got any a few weeks ago. I have 4 dozen sitting on my counter. Another reason why I continuously say you and Jay need to live closer. I mean, even my dad was telling me yesterday that even the people that raise chickens down there in Tennessee and sell the eggs, where they were selling the eggs for $1 a dozen and stuff like that here just a year ago, now they're charging $4 a dozen and can't get the chickens to lay fast enough. and people are paying $3.99, $4 a dozen for fresh eggs. Don't matter if they're white, brown, tan, square. They're buying them up because they don't want to go to the store and pay twice that price for an egg. We don't even have a car to come closer. I wish I could come closer to Jan and Jay. We don't even have a car. You know, the wife's been borrowing her cousin's car and her cousin's husband's truck, and to get back and forth to work herself. And she'll come home from work and lay down with the plans to go to the store when it opens. When she wakes up, get up, walk to the kitchen, car's gone. And they're gone doing their running and stuff like that. And she won't get the car back until 15, 20 minutes before she has to leave that night to go back to work. So it getting closer to anybody is a great big huge resounding pain in the ass. I just checked, and a dozen eggs are $8 to $9. I sell mine $4 a dozen. What is cheapest you have got store-bought eggs for? What is the cheapest store-bought eggs now or period? Because normally our dozen eggs are $1.99 or less. We're buying a flat 2.5 dozen for less than $7. That's the best we've done. I don't go to the store enough to price eggs. Until I find the goose that lays golden eggs, I can't afford to go to the store to buy anything. Oh, geese. Geese, that's another thing. Michigan has now passed a bill, a law, or whatever, after all these years of making it a criminal offense to shoot Canadian geese, or if you hit one with your car when they're running across the road, you can be ticketed and fined for it. Now they're going to start massive euthanization of Canadian geese in the state of Michigan to cut down on avian flu spread. Now, I just seen a news thing not more than a month ago that said that this whole avian flu scare is not what it seems. That a lot of the birds that have been killed, chickens or ducks or whatever, the farmers are saying they showed no sign of avian flu. These people are just coming into these different places and doing massive euthanization on these birds. Makes no sense. Hey Ty, good to see you, bud. I recall a few years back buying eggs at Walmart for 9 cents a dozen. Wow. Isn't it odd that eggs have gone insane, but chicken has not? Yeah, yeah. That is actually, and it's really funny. You know, the wife's been noticing everything going up, be it be it chicken, be it pork, be it beef, be it turkey, be whatever, fish. And you know, I keep trying to tell her these are those tariffs that you said probably wouldn't affect the common folk in a town like ours. You know, when you're paying, when 2 months ago you were paying $3.99 or $2.99 for a pound of hamburger, and now you're paying double that. Looks like it's affecting small towns. These are not tariff issues. Well, and see the reason that I say it's a tariff issue here is because a lot of our ground beef and our pork comes out of Canada. Now, supposedly, you know, the tariffs are not in place yet, but we have noticed over the last 2 or 3 weeks a steady incline in the price of all meat products. I haven't seen it affect our canned goods and stuff yet, but I have seen it affect our meat. Meat is super cheap. Maybe it's your state. The wife went to Walmart after work yesterday to get some kind of meat for us to cook for Easter dinner. And this is a perfect example. You know, she goes to Walmart. She drives half hour out of her way to go to Walmart to grab stuff for Easter dinner. She winds up only being the only thing she could afford. The only thing she found under $20 was a pork loin, just a pork loin. I told her, I said, get a beef roast, get a pork roast, get something. We'll cook some potatoes, carrots, and onions with it, and just have a nice Easter meal. And the only thing she could find under $20 that would feed us was a pork loin. One pork loin. All the rest of them were gone. They were sold out. She said roasts were 25, $28. She said ham was 30, 35, $40. Caused a lot of farmers cut beef just to survive. $1.89 pound for hamburger. They're not seeming to replenish the herd. Oh, so because their cow gets erectile dysfunction, we're going to suffer for it? Not our fault. Their bull can't do his duty. we have a side of beef coming in here in a few weeks. That's cool. That's cool. That's what we were going to do. We were going to try to get a side of beef, what was it, a couple months ago. And our meat market that we were going to go in halfsies with friends to get beef. But the meat market here in the area decided to relocate, move to a larger facility. Um, when the wife went to Walmart yesterday, she informed me that their old building was completely gone. It was torn down. It was the parking lot was gone, everything. But they've never reopened another shop anywhere. So people are driving clear down into Indiana and stuff like that now to order their beef, where the Indiana people were coming up here to get it from there because they were always so cheap on everything. But since they've closed down and haven't reopened a new shop yet, everybody's kind of screwed. Not only are we paying premium prices in other locations, but now with, prices going up, we have assignment. Not necessarily issues with bull. New cattle need to be brought in. Wish we had a side of beef coming. Beef farmers aren't making enough profit to justify more cattle on the hoof. That is true. Oh. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I I have complete and total faith that we will recover from all this crap. I have complete faith in it. What I don't have faith in is how the hell we're going to survive it until we recover from it. That's what that's my big thing. But the nice thing about it is things haven't slowed down, at least around here, with people going out to eat. The place I'm going to go back to, start back up at tomorrow, they're busy every night. The brewery, busy every night. Especially on nights, when the sky's not green and the wind is blowing at 65 mile an hour and golf ball size hail is denting the BMWs and the Porsches and the Jaguars and the Tesla. Yeah, we have a couple of those here too. It belongs to our around the year Camp Ritchie folk people. White Tesla. Haven't seen any Cybertrucks yet though, but then again, I haven't seen the smoke coming from out around the lake either, so I don't know. Ton of ranches went private. The only truly profitable beef ranch that I know of is the 6666. Checked out their beef prices. About lost my eye teeth. I detest Tesla. It's all right. I'm not a big fan of them. I think they're pretty cars, don't get me wrong. And some of the things that the mechanical engineering and the robotics in the car can pull off is really, really cool, you know. But yeah, anybody anybody who spends $80,000 plus on a car just because they can walk out of Walmart, hit a little button on their, key bob, and the car automatically starts up and drives to them because they're too incredibly lazy to walk to their car in aisle 1, spot 7, needs their head examined. I saw a Cybertruck last week in Hampton, stuck out like a sore thumb. Well, yeah. I mean, no rounded edges, are already ugly as all get out. Not to mention, the fire coming out of the back end of it was probably that was a dead giveaway. A couple of Cybertrucks running around here, just making people lazier than they already are. Yeah, when I was a teenager, all them years ago, I remember sitting down and watching Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff and thinking how cool it would be to have a car with an onboard computer that could drive itself, park itself, whatever the case may be. And now that I'm, almost 57 years old, I think how stupid it is to have cars that drive themselves and park themselves and stuff like that. I'll just never get it. I'll just never get it. I don't think I've seen Cybertruck in person. I never have either. Oh no, no, no. I don't judge people per se that um on how they spend the money that they earn. You know, these people these people are the ones who, you know, I guess the best way to describe them is 9 times out of 10 when you have somebody driving around in a $150,000 truck. These are the people who pass a homeless person sitting at an entrance to a shopping mall, and they're like, "Oh, I really wish there was something people could do to help those people." It's like, drive a Subaru and spread the wealth. You know, be part of the solution. I don't care who can drive. I care what they want to force me to drive. Yeah, now see, you make a real good point, um, Tony. I remember just a few years ago, the electric car initiative. By 2025, all cars on the road will be electric. we're going to make it where everybody in America drives electric and cut down on air pollution and stuff like that. I don't think I don't think it's right. Um, you know, several years ago, South Park done an episode on the electric cars, and their biggest thing was people that drive electric cars are smug. So they there was a smug alert. You know, California, a lot of cities have smog alerts. There was a smug alert because so many people were switching to electric, and they were smug about it. Oh, you shouldn't be driving that gasoline driven car because you're causing air pollution, and I'm so much better than you because I drive electric and diddly. I know it's not really like that, but it just eh, I don't know. I look at some of the new trucks. Okay, I'm at the dock. Gotta go. Have a good day. You too, me. Take care of yourself. I look at some of the new trucks, and all I can say is if you want a truck, buy a real truck, not this mamby pamby crap. Yep, exactly. So Drew is a wealth redistributionist. Um, I it's not fair for me to sit and say what people should do with their money. I know what I would do, but I look at myself as a very unique individual. If I was to ever hit the lottery, if I was to ever somehow, some way become wealthy, my town, the children in my town, my family, several families, all the families in my town, possibly quite a few within the county, would all benefit. You know, New jobs, new businesses, whatever the case may be, painting downtown, whatever. I would redistribute my wealth. It wouldn't just be me. Yes, I would fix up our home. Yes, I would have the land um, beautified. Get rid of the old 21-year-old sheds with the holes in the roof and everything that's been ruined inside them and stuff like that. But my community would benefit as well. My museum would have the heating and air conditioning unit that they need so dearly. So the clothing material, like the Freedom aprons and stuff that we have, would not be up there slowly rotting away between 100-degree temperatures and 30-degree temperatures. They would have that heating and air conditioning unit that they need. They would have that new flooring in the back room so they could get rid of that indoor outdoor carpet on concrete. Things like that. That's the kind of stuff. An amazing family uptown have had their restaurant closed for 3 weeks now. Their only source of income. Their only source of income, because the storms that moved through here ripped off part of the roof, and the guy that actually owns the building don't have insurance. All these years, they've been operating this restaurant for 20 years. And all this time, they had no clue this guy didn't have insurance. So now, these people, because of one freak storm, these people are sitting around twiddling their thumbs trying to figure out if they're even going to be able to keep their family business and their only source of income. I'd buy them insurance for the place and get the damn roof fixed so they can get back to making some money. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. My dealer keeps asking me if I want to buy electric Cadillac. I always tell them that if I was forced to drive electric, I'd get an old S-hook muscle car. Old school muscle car. Amen to that. Yeah, definitely something that you can work on yourself. I mean, I was sitting there looking at my daughter the other day, thinking, be 17 years old 2 days after I turned 57. The kid needs to learn to drive. And I sit and I think about how my family was with classic cars. Y'all know my first car was a 67 Ford Fairlane 500 with a 289. And my dad and I spent a year rebuilding that car with our hands. I drove it to school the first time without a brand new paint job. We had scraped the Landau top off the top of it, so all we had was the old yucky dried adhesive up on the top. No bumpers. Had the license plate stuck in the back window. Didn't have a radio. Half the dashboard was gone because we were still looking for parts for it. But by God, once we got that engine teed up and running good, I was proud as hell to drive that thing back and forth. I didn't care what anybody thought. I want her to feel that pride too. I always saw my kid in some chop top 50 Ford pickup truck. Got some louvers on the hood, maybe a lowrider. Right now, she has no interest in driving. And I think before I buy the 17-year-old a car, I need to figure out how to help my wife be able to stop borrowing her cousin's cars and trucks. Because two families operating off of vehicles just don't work. But yeah, Ren Fair's coming up here on the 17th and 18th of May. I started working on outfit, something nice and proper, outfit-wise. Still haven't figured out the tent situation. Given the flip-flop and toss about, do we buy me a piece of canvas to sleep under, even though I'm going to get paid very well for that weekend? Do we buy a piece of canvas to make me a lean-to, or do we put food in the house? So, yeah. much as a car guy as I have been my whole life. Only one of my daughters got their license at 16. Two got them in their 30s, and the fourth hasn't gotten it all. Well, and once again, the driver's license thing has changed. Back when I was in school, you took driver's ed at 16. You got your learner's permit at 16. They don't even offer driver's ed out here at the school. You got to literally take the kid and schedule a driving test with your DMV here, if you can even get anyone to answer the bloody damn phone at any of the DMVs here. And hope and pray that, if they do answer a phone, that specific DMV has got a driving teacher assigned to it, because a lot of them don't. You may have to take your kid 30, 40, 50 miles to even get a driving test done. I'm still waiting for the new tires to get mounted for my quad. It's supposed to be done Friday, but I never got a call. I never got a call from them. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I figured you'd have it done by now and be out running around the yard on that thing yesterday. What I might have to do with that Viking helmet that I'm working on is, instead of using rivets, I found these little nuts and bolts up at the hardware store, and the nut or the bolt is almost like a little spike. It's rounded, got a shaft on the bottom of it, but the front comes up to a spike about half an inch tall, and then wait a second, that's actually the nut. The bolt has a flat head on it and screws in the bottom of it. So what I might have to do is try to scrape up the funds for about 45 of those, and then I can use those, drill the holes out on the helm, and bolt it all the way around with the steel bands that cross over it and everything. Eliminate the rivet thing. Be a lot more expensive, but it'd have all these shiny chrome spikes all over it. So I don't know. I'm still tossing ideas around. Yeah, my cousin wanted to get rid of this quad because they were buying a Gator. I'm thinking about getting a quad or a side by side. That's kind of cool. I used this quad on his property before he sold it, so I'm very used to driving it. It'll come in handy for us. Oh yeah, you don't feel like getting the car out of the garage and stuff. Just drive the quad to the grocery store. Get yourself a cute little trailer to haul behind it. Mount one of those, mount one of those baskets on the front of it, that they have on the old grandma bikes, so you can put a couple grocery bags in there. You know, drive it back and forth. Instead of the old bicycle with the little basket on it and grocery bags tied to the little platform behind the seat and everything. Be modern, modernize, evolve. That's what I'd do. But that's just me. No, all joking aside though, Jan and Jay, with you both retired now and, you know, finally, finally getting to enjoy life and not have to report to the man every day, not have to wait to see if the business is going to survive the next pandemic. You know, now that you guys can enjoy life together a little bit, you need to have fun. And I think when you told me when you mentioned you had gotten that quad, it's like the greatest thing they could have ever done. That is going to be some fun playing around for them. Not to mention, as smart as Jay is, he is going to find a way of hooking a lawnmower to this thing. And that genius is going to find a way to mow that lawn at 40 miles an hour. It's going to be amazing. Taking things from front to back. We have 2 trailers. I wouldn't drive it to the grocery too far, but it saves us from driving the truck to the back with heavy stuff. I've already been thinking about that. Not to mention, storm damage in the backyard. Hook up the log splitter to the back of the quad and pull that sucker around. No more, like you said, no more driving the truck to the backyard to take care of things back here. Hook them trailers up to the quad, hook the log splitter up to the quad. When you finally have grandkids, take a piece of wood, drill a couple holes in it, loop a rope through them, put it right over the trailer hitch on that thing. Pull the grandkids around the yard when they come over to spend the weekend. Could laugh about that now, but my dad used to do it to me and my sister. We never died. Well, I mean, I guess if you wanted to do things the easy way, you could just put them in the trailer. Anybody could put a kid in a trailer, but only grandparents could pull them around the yard on a piece of plywood. Time for Daddy to splurge a little bit. Italian sweet cream. Yummy, yummy, yummy. It's amazing what you can find at the food pantry when you know what you want. To top things off, last Sunday our tractor had the transmission go out, so Monday we were out buying a new one, waiting for that to be delivered. When it rains, it pours. That's for damn sure. When it rains, it pours. You know, we lost the car. Then we canceled all of our streaming channels that we had to pay for. Saved that $200 a month on insurance she was having to pay. Don't like seeing Jay mowing the yard with the push mower. That's how Mom and Dad was. Oh, God. That's how Mom and Dad was. You know, when they first retired, they had 3 acres, and all Dad had was a push mower. And, you know, Mom got tired of watching him damn near kill himself, or watching mowing the yard take more than a day. And, you know, she finally broke down, went out and bought a riding mower. And, you know, it went from taking 2 days to mow the yard and trim around all the trees and stuff like that, trim around the house, the Rose house, the barn, all the crap she had in the yard for decoration, to it only taking a few hours. Went out and bought a riding mower. She'd get on the push mower and trim everything out. He'd be zipping through the yard on the riding mower, have it done in a matter of just a couple hours, and they had the rest of the day to do what they wanted. There's a way to hook a push mower to a quad. You guys are going to come up with it. You can get pull behind mower attachments used with a quad. You have to be careful. Air-cooled engines do not like to be lugged. Could overheat. It's a good point. Huh. There's the wife's 75-year-old aunt driving her Mustang. 75-year-old woman driving a 1985 or 1995 Mustang. No, I'm sorry, crap. A 2005 Mustang. She's so cute. Teeny tiny little woman, teeny tiny little car, and she still can barely see over the steering wheel. I used to build pull behind mowers. Guys, if you'll excuse me, I'm a little past time here, but I need to make a beeline to the P line. Y'all just chat real cute amongst yourselves for a few minutes, and I'll be right back. Before I have to have my chair and my carpet professionally cleaned. Oh. That poor little woman. I swear to God. That poor little thing, so swollen. Her feet and legs are so swollen up right now she can barely walk. I forgot she was coming over this morning. The wife's got to actually take her to the doctor's appointment today to find out why she's all swollen up. I want either a Shelby GT, Corvette, wishing one hand and the other. See which one feels. I saw that fur on a chair and thought he was sitting on Ted Nugent. This is actually the shirt to a werewolf costume I made for Halloween several years back and tucked in the closet. It's going to be the fur pieces to my Viking outfit. Z06 vet by fairly substantial bit. Only one of my picture belongs to my cousin. Good morning, Lady C. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, goodness gracious. So, yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I will be starting that new job tomorrow at 4. I'll get off work probably around 10 in the morning at the brewery. I'll come home and relax for a short time, maybe watch some cooking shows. If I could find some decent material for a video, maybe work on a video for a little bit, and then leave here about 3:15 and walk up to the restaurant and go to work up there from 4 until either 9 or 10. I don't know what their open close hours are on a Tuesday. Then Wednesday is my early morning, so I have to be in the brewery sometime between 3 and 4 to get in and out and be done before people start coming in and getting prepped up to work. It's going to be rough. Like I don't get enough sleep now, I'm really not going to be getting enough sleep. This 2 and 3 hour a night thing is slowly but surely killing me. But the nice thing is, by me getting this second job, I may actually be able to afford insurance now and go get stuff that's going to help me make it through. Maybe get back on my blood thinner for my blood clots. Maybe get some of my diabetic medicine back. Maybe get something done about that. Who knows? Look up Cassius Marcellus Clay. Life is what is killing you. It kills us all eventually. Yep, that's precisely it. It's not killing me. It wants to, I think. I look at time as a predator. You know, it slowly hunts you down until it finally makes the kill. But I'm a fighter. Come and get me. That's the way I look at it. Come and get me. Or at least try your hardest. But I put up a fight. I may have to, with as bright as it is outside, I may have to set up the camera and stuff out there so y'all can keep count of how many times I either drive a nail in my leg or smash my fingers with a hammer or something building the boxes for that iron set for my fire. It's only going to be about that long, about that wide, probably about that thick, but it's still going to be funny because I'm going to take the 2x10s, put two of them together. I'm going to put a 2x4 trim around one of them. The other one's just going to be a lid. And frankly, I think it's going to be abso-freaking-lutely hilarious um, trying to see in bright sunlight when all it's going to do is make this eye completely haze over. And I don't have a nail gun, so I'll be using a hammer and spiral nails. It's going to be cute. It's going to be cute. Damn, ripping the DVD collection is getting really old. Well, you know, most people, when they sit down and rip a DVD collection, they don't try to do 10,000 movies at a time. And they don't try to do it all in one setting. It's one thing I like about you. Once you get your mindset on something, you don't stop until it's done. But after a while, it's got to just tucker you out. It's got to just tucker you out. I don't see how. I don't see how in the hell you do it. I really, honestly don't. I'm too ADD for that kind of stuff. I'll work on something for a day, maybe 2 days. Then I'll pull something else off my list and work on it for a couple of days. Then I may go back to the first thing, or I might pull something else off my list and work on it for a couple of days. I don't know why I flicked that thing like that. I knew I still had ash on the end there. Well, if I get onto something else, who knows? How long do I get back to it? You know, I really understand that. Back in the day when I was younger, and I was doing a lot more of the native encampments and the rendezvous and stuff like that. I would sit down. I would work on a really elaborate Native American breastplate, or an attached choker breastplate, or something for a dance outfit, and you know the fringe that goes down the side of the breastplate, or the little bit of fringe that comes out of the conch on the choker or something. I would hand cut all that fringe, and then I would I would take my sinew out and I would braid my sinew so it was extra strong. I'd take three strands of sinew and I'd hand braid them, and then I'd stitch everything. Don't know who that is. Benton Harbor, Michigan. I don't know who that is. But I would literally, I would start working on it, and from the first piece of fringe that I hand cut, and I would hand cut it, with the old iron scissors. From the first piece of fringe to the last melted knot, I wouldn't stop. 18, 20, 24 hours, a couple of times 30 hours or a little over. I would sit and work on it until it was done. Sometime after 40 is when I realized that I had to do something different. So, like I said, I would start working on something. When it got boring, I'd find something else to work on. When that got boring, I'd either go back to this or I'd find something else to work on. But everything always managed to get done. Kind of late in life for ADD to or ADHD to kick in, but God, suspected spam. The day has begun. When starting, I thought I had 1,000 DVDs or so, about 12 to 1,300, and I'm about halfway there. Now, when the weather gets fit, I'll set it all aside and do vehicle crap. I don't blame you. You do what you can do when you can do it, and then go back to the other stuff. My God, we're down to like 18 minutes already. That's insane. Oh, I think I'm going to go out when I get that box done. I'll come in here and work on my shirt for a little bit for the fair. Then I might go out and do the kitchen floor. I think I might sweep it and then pull out the old Swiffer and Swiffer the floor up. Do the little Swiffer mop thing with the wet pads. Get it all nice and shiny while the wife's gone. Surprise her when she gets home. Try to figure out what the hell we're going to do for dinner. Huh. want to make chicken and dumplings, but you know, Ralphie feels like he has to help you do everything, and I don't even know how many DVDs I have in my collection, but it takes up two 3x6 bookcases, two deep. So that's a collection I used to have years and years and years ago. I would hit Walmart at least every other paycheck, and I'd be dipping into their $5 DVD bins. And if it looked interesting, I'd buy it. If I found a series of movies like Terminator movies or Alien or whatever, you know, that were a collection, I'd buy the whole set. You know, just whatever I could get. So I always had a menagerie of movies to choose from. We have leftover tuna and noodle casserole. We'll eat. Well, she made that pork loin last night. We managed to wipe out half the pork loin and all of the green bean casserole, the sweet potatoes. So I suppose we could probably have pork loin again tonight, but then we got to come up with side dishes for it. So maybe some mashed taters or, well, mashed taters and some kind of vegetable. Ta-da, dinner's done. Thanks, Jan. I get them from Goodwill for under $2. I have the first season of quite a few series. Oh, nice. We don't sit down and watch movies that often. I'll be honest about it. Uh, Not anymore. I'm so busy with, you know, being in here working on stuff or getting things ready for an event or something like that. Um, Finding shit to sell so I can afford to make things for the next event. You know, I was sitting in here not very long ago thinking, you know, I had a Viking sword I got off eBay, and one of my guys, one of my groomsmen at my wedding, was carrying around that Viking sword. Whatever happened to that sword? Where is that sword at? And I'll carry it at the fair this year. And then the wife reminded me that I was buying and selling swords at that time. And not very long after I came out of the coma and started to recover and started doing my events again, I took a bunch of my swords and took them to an event and sold them all, including the Viking sword. You know, that was 9 years ago, so I can't really blame myself for not remembering which one was what. I mean, you know, in the year I sold swords, I probably sold 1,000 swords. So I don't remember. The only swords I still have is my basket hilt broadsword that I carried um, at the wedding, and the claymore that my son carried at the wedding. Those are the only two I still have from all those years ago. So yeah, thank God for great memory. I don't have any idea how many DVDs I got. Probably around 2,500 in the garage, 1,500 in the house. That's it. That is a lot of DVDs. Thing is, the cabin does not have room for all that. hence all of them on the server. Yeah, makes sense. Just consider that every gray hair is a memory lost. You know, I've heard it said before by people my age when I was 25 years younger. I have forgotten more than you'll ever know. Or I have forgotten more things than you know right now. And it makes sense. You know, I'm over double that age, and I try to think about all the things that I have forgotten, and there's no possible way. Now I know why. I have a few complete series in my collection too. I don't know. It's much like I've said so many times. You know, I've got all these things that I want to try to get before the fair, only because the fair is advertisement for me. It's advertisement for the channel because every single year, and I'll try to find the videos. I'll try to find the videos this year, but every single year when all the news agencies show up at the fair to do interviews and talk to people and show the fair, they always come to me because I've not got that normal Ren Fair setup. I have got a traditional, whether it is Scottish Highlander or it's Viking or it's whatever. I have got everything from the skulls sitting around on the tables to, you know, I done pirate one year, and it, there were pirates walking around in these flashy outfits that they did not have back then, you know, and then there was me, just a plain a little bit of flaunty, yada yada, and they even made the remark about, you know, your setup looks so historically correct, you know, and I had to explain to them, you know, I'm a historian first, so regardless, you know, I've done reenactments and historical events and stuff for so many years that regardless of whether it is a juried event or it is a Ren Fair, everything is historically accurate. So it's a direct reflection on me when people contact me to come to an event. They know what they're getting because they've seen my setup before. I really need to take inventory. I'm overtasking my photographic memory right now. Well, there you go. I just think it's ironic. Me and the wife have this argument all the time. She calls me a hoarder because of all my reenactment stuff, because of all my different outfits, because of my shoes, because of my hats, because of all this stuff. But much like the Viking sword that I had 9 years ago and thought, eh, you don't do Viking. It's okay to take it to an event and sell it with the other swords you got. Now here I am 9 years later doing Viking and needing it. That's why I don't get rid of things, because sooner or later you need them. My photographic memory is now reduced to a stick to stick figure drawings. I like that. You got stick figure drawings, and I've just compressed all my files apparently to ones and zeros. It's all binary now. Takes up so much less space than, you know. What is up, Danny? How are you doing today, bud? Hiking. Ass. Oh, man. Talked to Crystal yesterday for a little bit. She sent me a message when I was trying to get everything rolling for Easter and everything. Told her, said, I'll see you soon. And she said, oh, yes, you will. And I'm like, oh, God, what do her and Danny have planned? Seen you guys already been out and done a couple investigations. Wait, you were in the hospital? Once again, I knew nothing about it. Why were you in the hospital? Me and you need to work on our communication. I had no clue you was even in the hospital again. We need to, if we mean as much to one another as we continuously, we need to work on our communication because I knew nothing about it. I would have been right there by your side had I known you were in the hospital. Well, me on one side and Mrs. Danny being on the other side. Went in for drug drop. 3 days turned into 5. Had no clue. But then again, I'm very rarely ever on Facebook unless I get a notification from somebody um, on there. Then I get on or I get a notification, stating somebody had posted something, but I got nothing from you or the wife or um, the last thing I seen on Facebook was a picture of the grandkids and your daughter that you or the wife had taken one. Um, that's the last thing I seen from you. Got my heart meds all set up now, all good. Well, thank God, man. Thank God. We still need to work on our damn communication, though. Yeah, it's definitely a blessing when you can get that stuff squared away right. I know it's been a rough year, man. I know it has been a very, very rough year. In and out of the hospital for different stuff. I'm just glad warm weather's here again. We can start going out and doing investigations, enjoying life a little bit. Neither one of us are puppies anymore. We're getting older. Things are getting harder to do. You know, get out, do our thing, have some fun. We got Ghostorama coming up here in a little over a month. Just ready to start enjoying life a little bit while we still got life to enjoy. I'm out 2 weeks now, going to the gym, 4 miles on the bike, weights. Very cool. Very cool. Good morning, Ian. Good to see you, bud. Now Danny's going to look like the Hulk. I take that back. Thank you, Jan, for bringing that up. The last thing I seen from you on Facebook is when you shaved your goatee and everything. And I was like, my God, he looks like a giant baby. No hair on his head, no hair on his face. He looks like a giant baby. I mean, a handsome baby, but still, nonetheless, looked like a giant baby. That's the last thing I seen from you on Facebook. Still a naked face. Wow. That's all right. I like the goatee, even if your head was shaved. I like the goatee, but then again, I'm kind of liking mine, just letting it grow. Think I might trim all this up today and just fine line it down. Um, I've got a. I really kind of want to cut this back and spike it since I'm starting the new job tomorrow, the second job. Um, but I kind of wanted to start growing long too. So I'm torn. I'm completely torn on what to do with it. If I don't have about 5-day-old stubble, my two youngest granddaughters won't have anything to do with me. I'm going to grow it back, no worries. I'm sure your wife likes that smooth face. Man, that can be taken in many, many different ways. I think I'm just going to leave that alone. Summer coming. It's best to keep it short for a while. I have that problem in the wintertime when it's really cold. Oh, you mean, I got you. My bad. Nope, she hates it. She wants my goatee back. Go figure. I don't know how many times I have either shaved a goatee or grown a beard or let my hair grow long or whatever the case may be. And the wife gets home from work and she sees it and she's like, what in the name of God did you do? There's been a few times she's laid down and went to sleep at night. I went in the bathroom and shaved or cut my hair or done something and she wakes up in the morning and as soon as she starts to roll over in the bed, I wake up and I'm sitting there looking at her. Um, Here, I got to do it this way. I got to do it this way. Uh, when she rolls over and I look at her and her face is like this. What in the name of God Almighty did you do? She says I look like a kid. Every woman's dream to have a younger man. Just a reminder of that. Just a reminder how young and sexy you are. Well, guys and gals, it is that time. It is time for me to be like a fat baby and head out. Time for me to be like a tree and leaf. Time for me to be like a flock of birds and get the fuck out of here. I fucked that up. Just remember, you know, I got the Ren Fair coming up here in about 3 weeks. I am trying to get everything set up and looking good. If anybody wants to help out, right there is the place to do it at. We got Ghostorama coming up in June. I will be speaking at that event. Yeah, put an egg in your shoe and beat it. That's right. Need to figure out here real soon too the whole Ghostorama thing. Since we don't have a car period to drive now. I was actually, before we lost the car, I was trying to talk the wife into taking the weekend off and the three of us driving to Jackson, um, so she could be part of the event as well. But now we don't have a car period. So, yeah, we're not driving either one of those borrowed ones to Jackson. Well, we can't get to do the truck anyway. It's only a two-seater, but not driving the other one. So, yeah, got to sit down sometime here real soon and figure that one out. Got to sit down and figure out investigations. Busy, busy, busy. No one can afford eggs. Yeah, especially not to stick in your shoe and beat it. But anyway, y'all, I'm out of here. I got that box to work on, and I got this Viking shirt to work on, and I got to figure out where the stepson hid my tin snips at so I can start cutting the steel panels for that helm. And then I got to, figure out that whole nut and bolt thing to put it together. So I always make life hard. And then I got to get in the mindset to start that new job tomorrow. They ask me back. So that says something. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully next Monday, it continues to work out and I can get another video pre-set up so everybody gets to notice it's going to be happening. I swear to God, one thing, it's another. But until next time, take care of yourselves. Yeah, tell me about it. I need all the luck I can get. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. I do. We'll catch y'all later. Have a good week, y'all. Couldn't get the damn thing to shut off.